So I thought I'd put together a quick video looking at how I process the pictures I take with the E-PL2, which is my infrared converted camera. Yeah, so let's jump into that. Just to set one or two quick disclaimers. I use Darktable. All the pictures I take, all the photos are raw, and I use Darktable to edit them. I'm not a Darktable expert by any means, so this isn't a Darktable tutorial, although there is some really good stuff on YouTube about Darktable, so I would advise people to take a look if they're really interested in some of the detail of Darktable. I use it kind of fairly simplistically just to get the results that I want, so, and that's what I'll go through now. So yeah, let's jump in. What I'm going to do, I'm going to just pick a really simple sort of subjecty thing here, and if I can find something, yeah, it's just a fairly sort of generic thing. And in Darktable, this is version 3.8.1. I'll just take you through. I'm not a big I'm not a massively experienced or knowledgeable Darktable user. I've used it for a couple of years, but I only used the relatively simple things in it. So the way I do it is, because my camera is a full spectrum conversion and I use a 720 nanometers filter on the front of the lens. So what that gives me is these kind of, you know, slightly sepia looking things, and I convert those to monochrome. I switch on the local contrast. I often will use shadows and highlights. Now the tone curve, if necessary, I kind of bring it in at the ends. On this image it isn't necessary because we're using the full spectrum, as you can see, but often there's a gap of unused space at the beginning or the end of the tone curve, and I just pull that in. Don't need to on this particular example. Maybe I'll try and find an example where I do need to do that. Okay, and pretty much the last things I'll do is I might do a crop, but I switch to filmic RGB, and that seems to make the biggest difference. I will just crop this slightly because I'm not keen on the lamppost on the right hand side here, so I'm just going to crop that in a fraction. It's a shame because I didn't really want to lose those clouds part way up, but I'm going to see what it looks like with quite a heavy crop on that side, because there's not actually much happening on that part of the image. So I'm going to crop in quite tight on that side, like that. And then I would stop there on this particular image. So let's just export that one. Going to look for something else here that's maybe more likely to require a little bit of a kind of a clip. And this, yeah, okay. So again, a fairly simple image. I just run through those again. We'll convert to monochrome. We're going to set the local contrast, and some of these things I sometimes come back and take off later. Typically the shadows and highlights I might come and take off later if I don't think it, you know, if I want those shadows kept deep, then I'll take that off later. This time on the tone curve I can see that there's some, I can just pull that in. There we go, just to clip out that unused part of the spectrum. And then, wow, that makes a big difference. I'm going to unclick that and click it back on again. You'll see filmic off, filmic RGB on. That was a really good tip someone gave me. Can't remember who, but someone said you should take a look at that filmic RGB. and then we'll export that. And that's pretty much all I do with converting my infrared to something that's usable. So if I just go and pick those up, I'll just pick that last one up. There we have it. Lovely rich blacks in there, which I like. Yeah, pleased with that. So there you have it. That's the way I process my files. And I have to say, one of the reasons I've been prompted to put this video together is because that new feature of filmic RGB seems to have made a big difference to the way I think my infrared pictures are coming out. Of course, all of those things, you know, like the shadows and highlights stuff and local contrast, you can do all of this in many different ways. You can just tweak the curve and the like to tweak the tone curve to arrive at the same finish. But those steps I've taken you through there, I think it shows how quickly I can get to the result that I want, which for me is, you know, is quite important. And I'm sure some of that stuff I could probably set up in camera as well, maybe, not sure. But yeah, that's how I do it. And I also think that, you know, there are other editors out there, other photo editors, you know, Lightroom and Photoshop and all these sort of things, where you can do, you've probably got similar controls, so you can probably achieve the same sorts of results there as well. Yeah, that's it for me.